Dave Waters once said, predicting future isn't magic, it's artificial intelligence. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nerdy Optometrist, a podcast channel for all things optometry, and this is your host, Ukti Vora. Before we get into the episode, do check out this and all my episodes, and do leave a review, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Diving into this episode, I have a long call friend now who I officially can say he's my friend because I've known him for almost a year now. Ehsan Vaghefi, who is actually a true nerd, an entrepreneur, and he has a long list of things and achievements that I'm going to start with, like an official introduction. Ehsan is an associate professor of medical imaging and artificial intelligence in optometry and ophthalmology at the University of Auckland. As an academic, Ehsan has published more than 45 peer-reviewed journal articles and 5 patents. He's been awarded more than 10 million in research grants. In 2018, Ehsan and his co-founder, Dr. David Squirrell, started Toku Eyes, and so far have raised more than 11 million in VC funding. Toku is now backed by the largest ophthalmic device manufacturer, Topcon, and the largest US optometric retailer, NVI. Today, Toku Eyes AI platform is being used in many clinics across the US, UAE, Australia, and New Zealand. And that's why he's a true nerd, and a warm welcome to the nerdy family.
Well, thanks for having me. Now that you went through listening to it, I sound like a nerd. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. But it's always cool to hang out with cool, nerdy people. So I'm going to start with some question which I usually ask to all my guests about how did they bump into the eye care space. I have read your story and it's really personal and touching, and thanks for sharing that with me. But I thought instead of me sharing it, I'll let you share the experience of how eye care or being in the eye care space was destiny for you.
Yeah, so it's all started, it's eye care has been my lifetime passion. And it all started when my father lost his eyesight when he was only 4 years old. And the only reason my father lost his eyesight at that age was because my grandfather was too poor. So essentially nobody looked, and my father lost his eyesight. So growing up, my father was very much in touch with the Blind Foundation back home, and I grew up with most of my friends were either blind or had a parent who was blind. And growing up in that community, what I observed was majority of cases of blindness are because of lack of access. It's not that there is not enough intervention. It just there is not access to just simple screening that will lead to intervention. So following up on that, I think when I was 18 and I was about to sort of choose a career for myself, I thought that I'm not going to become a clinician because I always thought, and this is like the naive 18-year-old Ehsan, in that I thought one more clinician is not going to do any good. Back then, I was sort of simplistically, I guess, I was thinking I'm going to do something with quote unquote technology. I had no idea. I'm going to do something with technology that will help a lot of my friends and their parents. So nobody should go through the life experience that I did and my father had. So I started in biomedical engineering and then bioengineering. I did my bachelor, master's, and then PhD in different places in Australia, in New Zealand. And all of it was around imaging of the eye. My entire academic life has been about OCTs, fundus imaging, anything that you can essentially image the eye to provide a screening. Fast forward to 2018-19, it was when I started. So the idea of artificial intelligence became real. It was from a computational point of view, it was doable. And Google published the first paper on it, in that retinal images can be analyzed for a whole lot of diseases. That's where we started doing research first, so university research, and quickly realized that, hey, there's an opportunity here to commercialize that research. And there is that moment in the life of an entrepreneur, I guess. Now that I didn't call myself an entrepreneur back then, but there's that moment that is like, if not me, then who? If not now, then when, right? And it's like, I was like, I gotta do it. No one else is going to do it. So that's how I got here. and hopefully that will be sort of the rest of the journey.
That's wonderful. And you actually answered my follow-up question. Like, my next question was, you did biomedical engineering, but did you ever think of being a physician? Because, eye care was the space you always wanted to be in. But I liked how you already, looped that into your answer, that you wanted to kind of build technology and
Hmm.
work towards the greater purpose of building something that many clinicians can use. And I'm sure this sounded great as in like an 18-year-old with some idea, but you actually made that a reality today. So I'm sure that definitely deserves the kudos, or like, being honest to like, your thought and kind of pursuing that vision that you had back then.
I appreciate it. I always believe that technology scales things,
Yeah,
computers scaled engineers, Excel sheet scale accounting,
right.
AI scales medicine. That's how I look at it.
But AI, when you started, and like even today, people are so scared about the term, or like, to be honest, I want to use AI for everything I write, right? I love ChatGPT. It can literally like help me create versions. It can do my job. It can be like an assistant I'm always looking for, or I wish I had. And so my husband doesn't have to review my things that I write, or my teachers or like my colleagues, right? So this is like a free assistant tool. But when it comes to something that's threatening my role or my job, like, there it becomes a stigma, like, oh, no, 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 like, I don't want artificial intelligence here. So I'm sure you would have heard that multiple times, but you still pursued building a whole company around it. So how was your initial days? How did you overcome these conversations?
So that's interesting. When AI got started, there was a lot of skepticism from different points of view around it. I think during the past even 5 years, we've made a lot of progress. So one of the skepticism was from the doctors is that is the AI going to replace me? And I often answer that question, did AI did computer engineering replace engineers? And
Mm,
the answer, no. It just enabled them to do more. However, computers replaced engineers that couldn't use
yeah.
computers, right? So is AI going to replace physicians? No. Physicians who know how to use AI will replace physicians who don't.
Mm,
It's we are all changing, we are all evolving, and whenever technology advances, people that keep up with it will replace people who don't. That has always been the case, from the steam engine to electricity to computers to now AI. If you're keeping up with technology, you got to be at the top of your field, regardless of the profession that you are in. And if you're not, unfortunately, you'll be left behind. So, no, I think there's this quote that I sort of read. I think it's from Eric Topol, where he said, AI makes medicine more human. And
mm,
that's so true. Because ideally, AI will do a whole lot of boring tasks
yeah.
that now we are essentially using physicians as robots, like repeat, repeat, rinse, and repeat. Hopefully, a lot of that will be automated and the physician will be the human in the room. That's the hope. And again, it takes a whole lot of skill to use AI in the right way, in a proper way. So that was one thing. The other skepticism was around patients and, oh, AI is going to make decisions for me. Well, the funny thing is that every one of us wake up in the morning because AI made decisions for us. Because now you have a Google app that just, it's your calendar. It tells you that you have to wake up at this time. And then the Uber tells you that you have to get ready because you have to go to this meeting. Our days start with AI and end with AI. That's just who we are, and that's why we are so proficient at what we do. AI in medicine is just one part of it. And I think there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it, and hopefully we do it the right way.
But I liked how you said that, if not me, then who, and if not now, then when. Going back to that quote and understanding the nuances and the fact that if not done correctly, it can be dangerous or it can be misused. So I'm happy and glad to see, like, people who believe in this cause are at the forefront of it and leading it, versus something where an outsider not outsider in sense like outside the medical field. If they lead it, then you just have to live with it because they probably have power, more money, and they're making the rules.
Mhm.
So here it's like you're leading at the forefront and making sure that things are falling in the right place.
Correct.
But AI itself is still in its, I would say, like a very early stage. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm as naive as probably majority of my listeners. But when you looked at research, right? You said like you started doing research, you started seeing few things coming in, and you felt like, okay, this is an opportunity uh, for us to kind of do more research and add more technology towards it. AI is still a gray area in terms of understanding. How did you make sense of everything? Because one part is like hundreds of AI companies out there, but
Mhm.
how many are really good AI? Like, how do you identify what's good versus what's average? Like, it.
Yeah, that's absolutely critical. And I think there are two main ways that you sort of can identify, at least in medicine. Medicine is special, I guess, because you can have clinical trials, like proper experimentation under proper controlled environment. There are many AIs in other fields like fintech or agri-tech that you don't have that opportunity. You don't necessarily know what's happening under the hood. And you're trusting the system, you're trusting your hopefully the legal system that if something went wrong, you can sort of have a way out. In medicine, the good thing is there are these barriers to entry. So you can claim all you want, but if you're not FDA approved, if you're not
Mm,
CE approved, then you cannot and you shall not enter this business, which means that have you done studies? Have you done a clinical trial? Have you published? Unfortunately, still I see at least a lot of AI companies out there that have a lot of claims and no publications, no research, nothing stops people from claiming a whole lot, right? So
mm,
anybody can create a website and a portal and say my AI does A, B, C, and D. It's up to the community, the clinicians, and the governing body like the FDA and the CE to say, am I gonna trust this? Or
mm.
am I gonna just ignore it and as a noise in the background is just okay, you can claim whatever you want. So I think research, publications, FDA and CE mark, these are the sort of check marks that essentially shows that yes, this AI can do what it says it
Mm.
does.
And talking about Toku Eyes, I am always intrigued with the names. So what's the story behind it? What does Toku mean and why that name? But did you have any alternative names? I don't know. Just tell me.
Right. So no, that's interesting because we started in New Zealand, although Toku is now these days based in San Diego, but we started in New Zealand. And the New Zealand native language is called Te Reo. And Te Reo, so we were a bunch of immigrants. The day we started, it was like five of us, six of us, none of us were like born in New Zealand. We were
Mm,
all immigrants from I was born in Iran. My co-founder was born in England. A couple of other people born in Malaysia, China, and that's sort of what New Zealand is. It's just a common place for a whole lot of people from different nationalities that's come together. And we thought that we want to have a representation. And Toku in Te Reo means myself and me. And Toku Eyes is my eyes.
oh.
It just, yeah. And we started from there. So later on, when we essentially expand the company, because Toku started as an ophthalmology company. We wanted to essentially use AI in ophthalmology. Later on, we understood that we can do more than that. We can look at sort of indications in cardiology and nephrology in an eye exam, in a retinal image. So now we are not an ophthalmology company anymore. We're actually a company that is focused on chronic disease through the eye. Um, so we dropped the word eyes, so it's just Toku. So Toku on itself means like presence and self,
Mm.
which is, I think, what we do.
That's fantastic. I Thanks for sharing that story. I wasn't aware about that. Did you have any other alternative names, or was Toku something that just stuck with everyone and you're like, this is it?
No, and to be honest, it's one of those things that when you're starting a company, everybody's thinking about a name. Within 5 minutes, you decide something and you move on. It's like we didn't workshop the idea. It just felt right, and we went with it.
That's wonderful. So being an entrepreneur, right? Like starting something, you said you probably had like a moment like, okay, this is what we want to do. We can make we can commercialize an idea. There are many young entrepreneurs that are out there today, and I see them much more than probably even when I started being in this eye care space, which is great. But sometimes it's hard to kind of just be part of the trend and like everybody's doing AI, let me also do AI, and identifying if this is a really scalable idea or is this a real palatable idea. Like, do you have any thoughts there? Like, how do you identify those things?
Yes. So actually, um, I love the idea of biodesign. It's a program that is initially started in Stanford and now expanded to UCLA, and hopefully I will actually contribute to biodesign UCLA. And the idea is that as an entrepreneur or a would-be entrepreneur, you enter the program and the whole idea is that identify the need. So usually, majority of cases, entrepreneurs start with a solution. They have a neat idea,
Mm,
right? It doesn't mean that it fixes a problem, or they think it fixes a problem, but they haven't studied the problem properly. And this is the process that I went through. We started from ophthalmology. We realized that's not exactly what I want to do, and we pivoted to the new idea, which seems to be working, which seems to be addressing a need. The whole biodesign idea, and although a whole lot of people may not have access to it, but this is something that they should do, in that go and understand the need.
mm,
It really doesn't matter if your idea is the neatest out there if it's not answering a need.
mm,
And the need, actually, to figure out the need and to understand the need is actually quite complex,
mm,
because you have to look at the clinical need, you have to look at the financial need, you have to look at the perception and the optics of things. You have to study the need and the problem very, very deeply to think, yes, this is this is the problem that I'm trying to approach in this particular manner, and then create a solution around it. So my sort of first advice to any would-be entrepreneur is that put your neat idea aside. For the
mm,
time you just forget about it. Look at the problem that you think you're solving. Make sure that that's a problem that is sustainable, justifiable, and commercially viable, and then come back and tweak your neat idea to fix that problem, not the other way around.
mm. That's very interesting. And I also want to ask you, like, you did your PhD and then you were an entrepreneur by heart, but how did PhD and research support you in this process? Because when you think of PhD, people want to, like, especially in, like, say, optometry or eye care space, they are like hardcore researcher, but you took the research and brought it into market and like commercialize it. So do you have any guidance there that if you've done a PhD or research, how can it help in your entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I think any optometrist that want to do some sort of entrepreneurship work, they should do some sort of research as part of a PhD. Ideally, it doesn't have to be, because doing a PhD is almost like sort of diving into the deep end. You have supervisors, but by the end of the PhD, you know more about the subject matter than your supervisors. That's the whole idea of a PhD. You become the expert in
Yeah.
that thing, even more than your supervisors. So for majority of the duration of a PhD, you're swimming by yourself. You are figuring things out by yourself. And that's essentially entrepreneurship, in
Mm,
that you are there by yourself. You have a team that is supportive for sure. But as a founder, you're it. You are figuring things out, and the other people will support you in that journey. PhD essentially taught me that it's me, my brain, the whole world, and I need to figure it out. And I can always get support from people, but you gotta realize that you're that tip of the spear. You are that person who
mm,
is figuring it out.
mm. Yeah, that's a great advice. I'm sure like people feel you got it all. Like say if I look at you or if I meet you, like, oh, you are like a CEO, you're a founder, you have this cool company you're running, and you have figured it out. But when like you know it all, but when you say you're figuring it out is like very interesting and a very valuable lesson for everyone to know that wherever anyone is, they might feel they have it all, but everybody is honestly figuring things out.
No, absolutely, absolutely not. You see, my days are essentially more questions than answers, if anything. I end every day of my life now with more questions than answers because a whole lot of things can happen. I'm running many scenarios in my head depending on what could happen. And then as we are progressing, I'm adjusting that and I'm leading the team. So the CEO, a founder, is the person who essentially knows the least while have access to the most amount of information. Again, it's almost like a PhD student. You have the entire academia that you can tap into, but you know the least because there are a lot of unknowns. Your team will follow you, and it's your job to figure it out. And the other thing that I often tell entrepreneurs, expect it to be hard. If it's not hurting, you're not doing it right. You know what I mean? It unfortunately or fortunately, it has to hurt. If you're having fun doing it, you're probably not doing it right. Don't get me wrong, there are good moments. You will have fun. But at the end of the day, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, it should be a struggle. That's how it should. It's almost like a PhD. Again, a PhD is a struggle. Ask any person who's done a PhD. It is a struggle.
And that actually brings to my next question that, like, being an entrepreneur, which was your biggest challenge, roadblock, or a challenge that you converted into an opportunity? Like, tell us about some hard, hurting moments in this journey.
How much time you got? No, but
We have enough time. We can do part two.
no, but here's the thing. Um, when you're starting to become an entrepreneur, you have to realize that your days are filled with a lot of no's and maybe one yes. In that, because the nature of what you're doing is new, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
The entire world is resisting it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter. You're trying something new, and the world is designed to say no to new things, right? And your days are essentially spent hearing no's. Like, I want to do this. No. I need money. No. Is it going to work? No. You know, all you need is one yes. And if you get a yes, one yes per day, that's a good day because now you've moved a bit forward. And as you're moving forward, more people join, it starts to make sense. Now get a bit of attraction. Still, it doesn't mean that your days are easy. It still means that you get to bigger problems and bigger problems and bigger problems again because the change that you're making is now sort of becoming more involved and you're affecting other things. You're affecting other people. You're affecting perceptions of people. All of that. So, as a founder, I think I very quickly realized that I have to be flexible. I have to be okay with hearing no's. If someone's telling me that this idea is not going to work, that's fine. It's their opinion. I have to push forward. If somebody is telling me that, for example, this idea is not fundable, that's fine. I have to work with another person. As long as you make peace with yourself, and this is going to be difficult, I'm going to hear a lot of no's to get to that one yes. That's fine. You're going to be surviving.
That's wonderful. I also actually learned or heard something similar from my another guest who said he has a no ticker. So he's like, okay, I'm going to have like 1,000 no's before I get one yes. And if
Yeah.
someone said before that, then it's like, okay, it's a lottery. Like I got it sooner than my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because your entire life, if you're an employer, your entire life is to say yes.
Mm,
You know, your boss, your manager comes in, your customer, your stakeholder, they come in and say, do this. And you say yes. And then if you want to do a job, you go to another person and say, to do my job, I need this. And often the answer is yes. Being a founder is the complete opposite. It's almost like you're looking for that one yes in the whole sea of no's. And again, I think that's also often people ask me if somebody is born an entrepreneur or becomes an entrepreneur.
mm,
And my feeling is that both.
mm,
You have to be born an entrepreneur and then you have to try to become one. In
mm,
that you have to have the genes in you, to be to essentially have the grit,
Mm.
to have that passion. So those are in your genes. You have to be that personality, and also that personality that so it's okay with saying with hearing no's, it's okay with pushing forward, and then you have to train. You have to essentially get used to the idea. You have to keep practicing your efforts. You have to practice your work. So you need both of those.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a great diversion to kind of the fact you said, like, sometimes like, oh, I'm not a born entrepreneur, I can't do it. But you actually pointed out you might be good at like, ideas, or you have that feeling that, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. But if you don't have the grit and if you're not ready to kind of risk it and like go all in, you might not be successful. So I love how you said like you can be born with it, but you have to become one. Only then it becomes a reality. Talking about like, all these new technologies and AI coming in this specifically in the eye care space, what do you think is the future of AI in the eye care and healthcare overall?
Well, I think eye care is special. Eye care is special because it's very, not because it's special to my heart, which it is.
So all of us, like
I know.
you've got it. You got all the listeners in like.
We're all biased. But eye care is special because it probably is the most accessible form of healthcare in almost every society, i.e., most of the time you don't need an appointment. There is not a huge building in the other side of the town that you have to go to. It's local, it's where you are, it's close to where you are, it's convenient, and it's accessible. Accessibility is much higher than most other forms of medicine. That's number one. Number two, it's image heavy, which essentially means that you capture a lot of information from the person. I mean, the other accessible part of healthcare is pharmacy. Pharmacy does not capture as information nearly as enough as information as optometry does. In optometry, you just in that, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes that you spend with the person, you capture a lot of physiological information about the person.
Hmm.
So and AI and any new technology thrives on data,
Yeah.
you know? It's so it's data heavy, it's everywhere. And the beauty of it is that optometrists are trained as medical doctors. It just they choose optometry. So now you have that experience that you can talk to your patients about other things.
Hmm.
My feeling is that I want to say not even 10 years, in 5 years, optometry, at least in the US, will not be similar to what we see today.
Hmm.
It will be a drastic change around medicalization. I believe 5 years from now, optometrists, especially those that now are graduating and younger, they will be much more inclined to become closer to medicine, practicing medicine, and assisting ophthalmologists, cardiologists, nephrologists. Essentially, I think optometry is becoming the first line of defense in every society
Hmm.
for identifying, screening, and maybe even managing healthcare. Um, that's how I feel. I think optometry started as a profession that was about glasses, contact lenses. I think that's being phased out. That's being taken over by a whole lot of other technologies, online, that sort of thing. Optometry is now, at least in my view, is shifting towards more medicine, which I truly love, and I think it should happen. And technology is enabling that.
That's wonderful. That's good to see that, like, now we always say, like, we are at the forefront because we can access and learn so much just by a retinal image. We can learn about the entire body with one scan, and it's non-invasive. And
Mhm.
technology assisting us to kind of be better at it and be able to kind of learn so much more about our health and provide like more customized care, which people are not
Mhm.
talking about is the future. I think it's great. And if we can be at the forefront and support the entire healthcare industry, not just eye care industry, is huge. So definitely AI won't take away our jobs, but probably burden us with a lot more than we would actually even imagine, or we might even not be trained for. But now we'll have a lot more opportunity to explore and be able to kind of assess the healthcare industry, not just eye care industry.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I have this vision in my head. I wish I could visualize it. But there are these graphs that I've seen like in node graphs that you have one node and it's connected to so many nodes, and then those are connected to so many nodes. I believe if you map the United States and put a node in every retail optometry position, and then graph all the primary care, cardiology, nephrology around them, this the this sort of the node in the center is the optometry that is engaged by the patient that just walked through the door because they need a pair of glasses, and
Mm.
then it grows to all other parts of medicine. To
Yeah.
me, optometry is that central node, and it's very quickly becoming one. And ideally, and this is a bit more future forward looking, but ideally, then all of these people that go to optometry and then disperse to other forms of sort of specialities will come back. So your nephrologist will ask you to go and have an eye exam.
Mm.
So your nephrologist, like as a patient, you have two options: go do a blood test and a urine test, or have a retinal image taken.
Mm.
Which one would you do? Right?
Yeah.
So hopefully this will be an ecosystem that will keep people engaged much more than today with eye care.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be very interesting. A lot is coming in this space, and I'm so glad that I'm able to talk to you, and I'm also being able to part of this, and I can also be part of this technology in eye care space, which I'm also too passionate about. And I feel we've barely scratched surface in this
Oh,
space.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We are just getting to OCTs, OCTAs, visual fields, now hyperspectral imaging. We are just getting started.
Yeah, but we're moving towards the right direction. And as you said, with technology and all the FDA approvals, if we are able to kind of move those things forward in the right direction, we'll have
Mhm.
a very different way of practicing eye care and optometry in the next 5 years. So fingers
Absolutely.
crossed for towards the bright future that we are envisioning right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so we did talk a lot about AI, technology, eye care, but now it's time for the fun game segment. So are you ready for it?
I don't know what's going to happen. Sure.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
it's a simple game. It's called this or that. I'm going to start with something easy. I'll give you like two options. You just pick your preference. That's it. It's a very simple.
Sure. Hmm.
Okay. All right. Are you a dog person or a cat person?
Dog person.
Phone call or text?
Text.
Glasses or contact lenses?
Glasses for sure.
Glasses for sure. Online shopping or shopping in store?
No shopping at all, but if I have to, in store.
In store. All right. See, the world you're building AI and now you like to go in store and be physical. Like this is something that we know about people through this game.
That's true. That's very true. I just have to touch and feel what I'm buying, but call me old-fashioned.
Uh, but this is interesting. All right. Cake or ice cream?
Neither.
Neither.
Neither. Yeah, sorry. I don't have a sweet tooth.
All right. Oceans or mountains?
Mountains.
All right. Horror movie or comedy?
Horror.
All right. Interesting. Any favorite horror movie?
Quarantine.
Oh, interesting. I have to watch that. Movie or reading?
Reading.
Reading. A day at a park or day at the beach?
Um, at a park.
At a park. All right, you did wonderful. So we definitely know a little more about you. You don't have a sweet tooth, so we'll find something spicy and like next time we meet.
Yes. Yes. Something Indian will be great.
Perfect. All right. So we go to our next game segment. This is going to be a little difficult. I
Okay.
guess, I don't know, because even I had to Google it. So it's called Boomer Lingo. It's basically, I'm going to test your knowledge about the Gen Z lingo. So are you ready for it?
Sure.
Okay, we'll go easy. FOMO.
Yeah, fear of missing out. Yeah.
All right. IMO.
No idea.
Try to figure it out.
Uh,
That's your job. Like figure
I
things.
know. Something missing out.
In my
Sorry.
opinion. No, no
In
worries.
my opinion, sorry, I'm not great at this. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We are all learning.
Okay. All right.
Uh, Flex.
Flex.
Yeah.
As in like yeah, as in like I know what it means. I don't know, maybe like exaggerating or something like that.
Almost there, to show off, like,
To show off. Right, right.
Okay. Bet.
No, I don't. Sorry.
It basically says, yes, I'm in, or like affirming, like, oh, yes, oh, you bet I'm in, or you bet.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Last one. Slay.
Absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. What's that for?
This is something what you're doing. It means killing it, like you're killing it at building a new technology. So slay.
Yeah, sorry. It's funny because now that I can speech to text on my phone and my computer, I hardly ever type. So I talk and the AI takes care of writing. And the AI is not actually great at these abbreviations. So it's so easy to talk. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's what we do. Like we're all learning. Like this is our way of learning these
Sure.
lingos. Trust me, even
Yeah.
I had to Google it. So we're all good. I'm glad I'm not on the other side of
No,
message.
just I mean, look at my gray hair. I'm definitely not Gen Z.
But that was a game segment. I hope you had fun. Before we wrap up this episode, a final takeaway message for all my listeners.
Um, if you have an idea, so this is what I've taught optometry for 16 years now as an associate professor. And there's always that one or two students in my class that I look at them and I think that person can be a great entrepreneur. Um, if you're a younger person, you have a huge superpower, which is called time.
Yes.
You have the time to fail. Don't waste that time on just, doing something that may or may not be passionate about. If you don't want to become an like a clinical optometrist and you have this brilliant idea that may or may not work, have a go at it. Because who knows, you may have the genes. That's the thing about, being good at something and having the genes. You wouldn't know until you try.
Mm.
So if you're a young optometrist, take advantage of the fact that you got time to try and even maybe fail, but you either succeed or you learn, right?
Yeah, that's so
Uh,
true.
just try, just try. It's reach out to other entrepreneurs that have done it before. Believe me, the rewards are much bigger than you can ever imagine, even if you don't quote unquote succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can totally assure you that I keep saying this that try. If you fail, you'll have a story to share.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny because it's so true. You know, becoming a successful, quote unquote, successful founder is almost as likely as becoming a successful Olympian. I don't know if you knew that or not. It's the chances are almost the same.
Oh,
If you're a first time founder and you actually make it to the finish line, i.e., an IPO,
mm,
a exit, something like that, the chances are almost as becoming an Olympian. So Olympians, they have the genes, obviously, and they
yeah,
try extremely hard at it.
yeah,
Not every Olympian makes it and get a gold medal, but everybody that goes through the journey comes out as a better person because of it.
true.
So just try.
That's a wonderful, wonderful lesson. Thank you so much, Ehsan, for all your time and all the learnings. I'm sure you have motivated a lot of new optometrists, eye care professionals, and even someone who just has an idea but was scared probably to step forward and make it a reality. I'm sure this has been a great learning, especially for me, and I'm sure for all my listeners. For everyone, I'll be dropping Ehsan's LinkedIn profile, so feel free to reach out to him. I'll also be dropping information about Toku Eyes. So do check it out. They are doing some cool stuff in the space of AI, eye care, and even healthcare, not just eye care. So thank you once again, Ehsan, and welcome again to the Nerdy family.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.